What's going on, everybody? In this week's lesson, we are in a drop C tuning and we are going to dig into a little harmonic minor. Okay, we're going to look at how to construct the scale, what chords we can get out of it, and along the way, we'll probably check out some fun ways that we can include it into our riff writing. All right, so like I said, I am in a drop C tuning. If you are familiar with drop D, it's the same thing, it's just pitched lower, it's tuned down just a little lower, but all the chords and the shapes and the scales are the same. Does not change, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do, we have our drop C, we're gonna find our octave on the 5th string, and that is right here on the 5th fret of the 5th string, okay? And a really great way to explore scales is to play them horizontally. And I like to do this, you can let the low string drone over all of the notes. But before we even start doing that, let's look at how to construct this scale, all right? So visually speaking, pattern-wise, we have a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a minor third, and a half step. Notice that one minor third that I threw out there, it's a larger step. A minor third, just again, if we're looking visually, it's a step, a whole step, 2 frets, and then an extra half step. Okay, that's what we could call a minor third on the guitar. And that is our visual pattern, right? And I would highly suggest learning all of your scales in this manner, as well as going to this string and doing it, and then that string and doing it as well. Really give you a good feel and kind of map your fretboard a little bit. So right away, this leads to some fun songwriting ideas, right? I would highly suggest octaves, okay, and letting the note drone out. Explore the sound of the scale. Octave riffs are always a great way to kind of build up an intro of the song and then maybe go into a main riff. And again, playing off the tuning of the instrument that we have, if this low string, we can get some nice single note heavy stuff, right? In the open 12 cliche area, why not? It works well. You know, so I can play open, I have the octave on 12, I have the half step down below it. And I know that note is there, right? So I can come out of that octave riff. And you get those kind of cliche groove, single note groove kind of riffs, and they work really well. Another thing you can do, very similar, following these root notes here, is looking at the thirds that you get, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, first, let's just do it horizontally still on a single string. Basically every other note. If our scale is 5, 7, 8, 10, well, I'm going to play 5, skip the note in the middle, and play the 8. And then I can do that pattern from every note. 5, skip 7 to 8. 7, skip 8 to 10. And so on. You get that sound. And you can do a lot of those. Fun little metal type of riffs, right, with the little trill sound. And if we do that cross string now we get very playable thirds. Right, so those are basically the chord scale in thirds, right? We have minor on 5, minor on 7, major on 8, minor on 10, major on 12, major on 13, and then minor on 16. Which is a really cool sound. And you get a very kind of, I want to say like Slayerish Lamb of God kind of, with that kind of, those little thirds right there. Fun stuff. Cool, so now that we have kind of an idea of some of the chords that we have in this scale, in this mode, so let's look at a way that we can come up with some cool ambient parts. Like how do we go from full chords to, say, very open, spacious, ambient kind of clean parts, which I find nice to kind of mix in this tension. You can get a lot of emotion out of the tension rather than strumming big, thick, full chords, because that can get a little muddy, right? Everything's so close together. So let's try to thin out some of these voicings. We know we're playing D minor, and I'm gonna go through, use Opeth as inspiration. I'm gonna unbar that chord and play that open high string, right? And then I can get this D minor chord, open D, 7 on the G, 6, open E. And then for the diminished chord, I'm going to come down to that C sharp root, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Or that'd be B root in this tuning, right? And I'm going to jump up and grab 3 and 5, the high string, and still use that open E. And then I'm kind of playing with this diminished triad up here. Pulling notes from here and finding things that work. So I wanted to copy over that open string. How can I incorporate that? And that's just the octave, the root note there. So there you go. Hopefully we kind of dove into harmonic minor a little bit. We left all the music theory jargon out. We just kind of learned on how to see it, map it out on the guitar, and incorporate it into some of our drop D riff writing, okay? Down in the description below, you can find the tabs for the scale and some of the ideas we looked at, and as always, let me know what you come up with. So until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.